Hey guys, Coach Woods here. August is coming up, football season's around the corner, and I wanted to make a short video to do some football 101 for you guys, the football players, especially if you're newer players who are just learning the game and want to make sure you have what we call a high football literacy. Just like literacy means understanding words and letters, and once you have a good football literacy, so you understand the positions and the way the game works, so it's more fun. All right, so let's get cracking. So we're called Football 101. So let's start with some basics, okay? So where the football is, you draw a little football, and I apologize, my handwriting and drawing is not great. I'm gonna try my best for you guys. So where the football is, and draw a little football, okay? There is an imaginary line called the line of scrimmage. All right, that's gonna go from sideline to sideline. Okay, we have the offense on this side, defense on this side. Right? Obviously, we are trying to have the offense score a touchdown in the end zone. Now, in our flag and headed flag and rookie tackle, each possession is going to start on the 40-yard line. Okay? And we'll move there. And then we'll have at the 20-yard line for flag and padded flag, you got 20 yards to get a first down, and then rookie tackle will be back to normal, 10 yards, like normal football, and then you keep moving forward. So another line I use is called the midline. So we have the LOS for line of scrimmage. The midline is an imaginary line that cuts the football in half this way. So we call that the midline. Now we're going to have a football player with the ball called the center. So we're going to have some football players on offense that are on the line. They're going to be on the line of scrimmage. All right, so we're going to have 7 on 7. We play 7 on 7. 4 of those guys have to be in the line. 3 of the guys are behind. The defense has to be on the other side of the line. So we have linemen, right? So the first one's a center. He's called the center because he's in the middle, right? He's got the ball. Then we're going to have 2 linemen next to him that are called guards. Okay, they're about 1 yard apart. We do fingertip to fingertip. We don't want to be too tight. And if we're more than 1 yard apart, that's a penalty. So we want to have guards that are guarding the football. Now that's 3. One more kid, all right, is we'll call an end. So the end, we call an X. Okay, we call him an X, just because X is kind of cool. So he can be a split end, he can be split out really anywhere from here to the sideline. So you have some formations where he's spread or split out, or he can be tight. This is called a tight end. Okay, so our X could also land up there. If he's there, he's going to be almost like an extra lineman in the lineman stance. Or we can do what we call flex, where he's flexed out a little bit. So now he's like in a wide receiver stance. He's kind of a half tight end, half split end. All right, half wide receiver. So we call that flex. He's anywhere from like 2 to 4 yards away from that end. So we have 3 more guys. We have a quarterback, right, who's going to be right behind the center, who's going to get the snap. He can be under center and get the ball right away from the center, or it can be in what we call a shotgun, which is about 3 to 4 yards away, and we snap it to him. Okay, we have 2 more guys that can line up. He's either a running back or a receiver. So we're going to have different formations. We can have, one formation we call river and lake. We're going to have a split end out here. And we're going to have a left running back, kind of flexed out 3 to 4 yards, and a right running back right here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 guys. So that's one formation. They can be kind of like another half running back, half receivers. Another formation we call ram, where he's going to flex. He's going to be a tight, we call a slot back, and he can line up as a running back. So there's lots of different combinations that we can do with these other guys. Okay? So let's talk about gaps. So you can see there's kind of gaps between the linemen. Okay? And what we do is we call this gap here on either side an A gap. All right, that's an A gap. We have the midline and an A gap. The next gap would be a B gap. Okay? Let's see, I'm going to put a little bit over here. B gap. The next one over is a C gap. And we don't have one here. We're going to have an imaginary C gap. If we pretended we had another guy, we'd have a C gap there. And the last gap, which is really wide, is called a D gap, which is from here all the way to the sideline. You got an imaginary D gap. And what we do in our offense, to keep it simple, most of our plays, the first letter will tell us where the ball's going. So we have a play called Mudcat. Mudcat, the ball is going to go on the midline. That's what we're running to. Or we have plays called Buckeye or Beast. The ball is going to go in the B gap. We have another play called Cowboy or Cougar. The ball is going to go in the C gap. And we have another play called Devil, which is a sweep, where the ball is going to go way out here in the outside the D gap. All right, got some other play names with different things, but try to use that so you guys know where the ball is going. So we have our line of scrimmage, we have the midline, we have our player positions, linemen, and what we call skill guys, which are running backs, quarterbacks, receivers, the guys who can get the ball, and we have our gaps. Okay, now let's talk about defense. Defense, on the other side, we're going to have, let me erase these gaps, this is going to be too much. We have 7 guys here. We're going to have 2 guys we call defensive tackles. We're lined up. You got to be 1 yard off the line of scrimmage over the guard. They're going to be what's called head up, right over the top, in the middle of the guard, or sometimes they could be, depending on the league we're in, they can line up a little bit outside a little bit to help on sweeps. Okay? Next, we're going to have, we'll have a quarterback, running back, 2 receivers. We're going to have cornerbacks on each side that cover the receivers if they go out for passes. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. They're going to be anywhere from 1 yard off. You could have a guy line up tight, or they can line up deep, or somewhere in the middle, depending on how going on with the offense, a down distance. We like to be about 6 yards in the middle for the most part. All right, so they're covering these guys. We're also going to have what's called a free safety. FS, he's got to be 10 yards behind the ball with our rules. 8 yards for first and second grade flag. So his job is called a safety. If there's a long play, he's going to be the guy to make the tackle. Or if there's a deep ball, he's the deepest guy in the field to stop deep passes. Okay? So free safety, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 guys left. Those guys are going to be linebackers. So linebackers, if you're going to line of scrimmage, are back behind the line. I'll put an LB for linebacker. They're usually going to be stacked right behind these guys. So if a running back gets through the line, they're what's called a second level. This is their first level. These guys are second level. He's one guy in third level. So second level defender, they're going to get a lot of tackles right in here. Okay, guys? They are 4 yards off the ball. They cannot come any closer in our rules, or it's a penalty. Also, there's something called blitzing. If these guys creep up and try to go through a gap, that's called a blitz. We are not allowed to do that until we get to middle school. All right, so these guys, when the ball is snapped, they have to be back here. Okay, once the ball is snapped, they can go anywhere. So we have our defense there, corners, linebackers, tackles, free safety. 7 on 7. Depending on what kind of formation we have, you might have to line up differently. If they have 2 receivers over here, we're going to have to make some kind of adjustment because they have an extra guy. So that's something we'll talk about. We can take this corner, move them over here. So there's different things we'll do depending on how they line up. So that is our football 101. Let's go over the basics, guys, so you understand some of the things that if you're new to football and where the positions are and all that stuff. All right, guys, hope that helps, and try to make some more videos here for you guys.